Welcome back to Hobbies by Holly. Today I am sharing a transformation that's a little more personal than usual. This 1970s Ethan Allen corner desk actually belonged to my mother-in-law, who recently had to downsize. I think it's a beautiful piece and it has incredible bones, but was looking a little dated. And my goal is for my daughter to be taking this to her college apartment in the fall. I think it's a perfect space-saving corner desk. As always, I start with a thorough cleaning before anything else. You never want to skip this step. Nothing adheres properly to a dirty surface. So I started by removing the hardware, and then this piece had a lot of furniture polish buildup. So I got out the cred cutter and worked on cleaning off the drawer fronts as well as the top of the desk. When I'm working on tables, I find it much easier just to remove all the legs to make sure I can thoroughly sand and clean them too. And here's where the real work begins. The top had beautiful wood underneath, so my goal was to sand it all the way back to raw wood and then stain it. So I got out my DeWalt orbital sander and worked through every grit. I start off at 80 and then work my way up through 120, 150, 180, and then finally 220 for a really smooth finish. I used my mouse sander to get into all the edges and details that the orbital couldn't reach. This was a lot of sanding, but every pass matters. If you jump straight from 80 to 220, it's going to leave scratches and swirls that the finer grits can't remove. So you got to work your way gradually through every grit, and it gives you a much smoother finish in the end. The way to know if you've done enough sanding is to use mineral spirits, where you can wipe this on and it will quickly show you if there are any imperfections, swirl marks, anything that you might not have been able to remove by sanding. And of course, just getting all those details with my sanding sponge, it was very helpful to have the legs removed so I could get in there. Then it was time to reassemble. I do find that painting with the legs back on is much easier. After all that hard work of sanding, I wanted to protect the raw wood top with saran wrap. So once I started spraying my paint, it would not get on there. I started with my first round of primer and decided to use my spray gun, although it's a lot harder to clean up, being an oil-based paint. So the first pass I did use my spray painter, but decided after that to just get some spray cans because it's much easier cleanup. After priming, this is a great way to see any imperfections. This one did have quite a few little dimples that I think are intentional. It's just part of what the would look like. So I went in there with my Bondo and started applying all of the Bondo to the imperfections. Pine is known for this, and filling those spots will make a huge difference in the final painted finish. Then I started sanding to make sure everything was smoothed down and got out my bin primer spray paint, and this was much easier to use because once it was empty, I could just throw away the can. And primer is so important, especially with something like pine, because tannins will bleed through, so you've got to make sure you have something on there that will seal those in. For the base, I used HGTV by Sherwin-Williams Cream Delight. This is a beautiful creamy cabinet paint that I had not used before. I applied it with my sprayer for a smooth, even finish, and I love how it turned out. I feel like this paint really levels out well. It's warmer than a stark white, and it just feels so naturally farmhouse. Not being as familiar with this paint, I did get some runs and drips afterwards. So once it was completely dried, I just got out my sanding sponge and sanded down those areas. For my second round of paint, I decided to hand paint after I realized how well this paint levels out and didn't think it would show many brush strokes. So it was much easier with the little legs and detailed areas to get in there with a paintbrush. Now here's where I have a confession to make. I was so excited about removing the saran wrap and getting ready to stain that I completely forgot to use my pre-stain conditioner first. I jumped right in using Varathane's Early American stain, and honestly, sometimes missing a step isn't the end of the world. The wood took the stain beautifully, and I was very pleased and relieved with how it turned out. Once everything was dry, I sealed the whole piece using polyacrylic to protect the finish long term. And I always use my spray gun. I find this makes it a nice even coat. The drawer definitely needed some attention. I knew I needed to add a drawer liner due to the stains. So I bought this beautiful drawer liner wallpaper on Amazon, and with my daughter's assistance was able to apply this to the top drawer. I'll put a link to this in my notes below, but I really liked this wallpaper. It's very sturdy and was very easy to apply. For hardware, I actually tried both black and champagne bronze and asked my TikTok audience to weigh in. And ultimately, I went with the champagne bronze. And here she is, Cream Delight base, Early American stain top, champagne bronze hardware, and a drawer liner that ties it all together. I'm really proud of how this one turned out. It went from a dark, dated 1970s piece to something truly beautiful. It belonged to my mother-in-law, and I'm hoping that my daughter takes it to her college apartment. It's the perfect corner desk for a small space, and I love that it gets to stay in the family with a whole new life. If you enjoyed this transformation, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more every Sunday. I have more exciting projects coming up and would love for you to be here for them. I'll see you next week.